Hello there guys, welcome to Eosacro. It's been a long time since the previous recording which I had created, so I decided to create a short video. In this I'm going to show you how to create simple user interface elements. I'll go ahead and create a constant node, and this constant node, as you can see, has a color slider, and by moving it, it changes from black to white. It's a single float point value. All R, G and B get the same color, and therefore it's a black and white slider. Now what I want to create is another element or another UI which is going to help me control this without having to ever come to this constant node at all. So to do that, I'll come to this additional drop down. I'll go to the backdrop node. This is going to be my special controller. I'll just call it controller. And now I want to add in the controller, which is going to help me change this color from inside this. So to add that custom control, I'll just come to this backdrop node, right click on the tab, and I can tell manage user knobs. This is available on pretty much any tab in the properties bin, so you can just go and click on this. Now in this UI which is just opened up, you can pretty much create all the user interface elements that you need. So to begin with, let me start by creating a tab. So to add any kind of elements, you can just go to add and select anything you want. So first thing I want is a tab itself. So I'll create a tab and I'll call it, let's say, constant tab, because I'm using this tab to control this constant. So I'll create this constant tab, and as you can see, there's a constant tab and then a node tab on this. So this constant tab, I wanted to have in all the elements related to this constant. So first thing I want is this color slider. So this is nothing but a simple float point slider. I don't want the slider over here to have any kind of color values. I just want a simple slider, a linear one. So I can come here and I can tell I want a floating point slider. So just by clicking on it, I'll get a dialog box asking me a few specific things. So first thing, it asks me for a name. The name is basically a unique thing which is going to be used during the scripting process. So you have to give in names which don't have any spaces or punctuation marks. So this is something which has to be unique in the system name, whereas label is something which you want shown in the dialog box itself. So for this, if you don't really give any name, whatever name you give here on the top is going to be copied for the label itself. So I'm just going to call this color, and I'll hit OK. So you can see that there is a new slider called color which is available here. Now I'll just click done here for now, and here I have a simple slider which is controlling everything. Now I want this slider to actually control this color. Instead of having to go about and script everything, what I can actually do is just click on this animation menu which I have here on the side. I can go to copy here at the bottom, and I'll tell copy links, and I want to paste the link on this color tab here on the actual constant node. So I'll come here to copy and I'll paste that in. So as you can see, immediately that 0 value is taken in and it is set. If I try to change this value here, it doesn't really do anything. It's actually using the same value 0 over here. But instead, if I actually come here and change this slider, you can see the slider and the value inside actually change. And just by moving this slider, I'm able to control the color values. So this is a very useful thing to have, because now I can go about and start controlling the solid in many different ways. Now to see exactly what's happening, you can come to this animation menu, click on it and tell edit expression. As you can see, it's telling that under controller, that is this backdrop node which we have here, you have a simple thing called color, that is this color float point slider which we created, and it wants the main value out of it. Let's say instead of having to do the whole thing like this, let's say all I did is just go to the animation menu and tell no animation, so basically get rid of the link. So what I actually want to do is create 3 different sliders, R, G and B, which are going to control the colors over here. So to create that, I'll go back to my constant node. I'll tell manage user knobs. Let me add a partition so that I know exactly what's happening. I'll go create a divider line. So you can see there is a divider line which is created at the bottom. I'll go ahead add a float point slider 1. This is going to control red, so I'll call it C underscore red, and I'm going to call it red. This is the label. I'll go click OK. So I have the red control over here. I'm going to do the same thing, C underscore G. This is for the green. And for the last one, I'm going to create a C underscore B, which is going to control my blue. Okay, as you can see, I have R, G, and B values. Let me go ahead and just add in an extra one for alpha, C underscore A for the alpha, and I want it to be called alpha. Okay, done. So I have R, G, B, and A being created. Now I'm going to go and add in some expressions for these. So first thing, I'll just come here and click this 4 button. So it switches me from that single slider to RGBA and B values. Now, one thing I did not mention previously is that instead of having to go into the animation menu, going into copy and copying links, what you can also do is when you have both of these options open, you can just click on the control click on the animation menu and drag it into the animation menu here on the control, and immediately those two get linked, and it works it just works the same way. So this time what I'm going to do is I want red, green, blue, and alpha connected. So I'll just click on this 4 button over here. So I'm back here. I'll just control click and drag red into the red channel, green into the green, blue into the blue, and alpha into the alpha. So now if you see, I can actually control the colors using my sliders. This is very intuitive to have things broken down and be able to use it whenever you need it. So here I just have a simple way of having to control all of my colors inside. So next thing I want is this red, green, blue, and alpha being controlling all the color values here. So I actually want them grouped in. I want them to be one single section which can be toggled on or off. So to create that, very easy, I'll just go back and just click on any of their names, tell manage user knobs, and here I'll come here and I'll tell I want a group. So I'll call this color group. So okay, done. So I have this thing called color group, and I can see that it actually didn't add a single thing, it added 2 different elements here. So I have control group and then an end group. So to use this, I just have to select this end group and actually move it down. So I'll just go click down. I just moved it to the bottom. So control group starts, then I have red, green, blue, alpha, and then comes the end group. So once this is done, I can come here and I can actually use this to toggle my elements on and off. So this is quite handy when you actually want to add some more additional functionality but you don't want any clutter in your UI. So as you can see, this is how the entire user interface works. Now once this is done, I'm going to actually talk about a lot of toggle switches and additional things in the coming up sections, but this is the main principle which I'm going to use throughout. So now next, let me show you something which is much more usable. I'll open up my Earth comp which I did in the previous video, and I'm going to create simple toggle switches to control most of these elements which we have. So I'll just recap what we have here. We have a simple Earth map which is being edited a little bit. Then we have the clouds being added on top of the Earth. Then we have a little bit of, I guess, specular being added, and then we have the night lights being added on the dark side of the Earth. Then we have the moon itself. Then we have the star field being applied to the background, and then we have the moon being textured completely. And then here is the entire composition I created just to get the proper glow on Earth. And as you can see, there are these expressions on all of these nodes which are actually driving the entire glow, so that it grows accordingly according to the time when the Earth comes towards the cam. So now I'm going to create a controller which is going to help me edit the glow itself. So let me go ahead and create a backdrop node. So this backdrop node is going to control all the parameters in my entire 3D scene. So let me go ahead and call it controller. So first thing I wanted to control is whether or not the Earth has glow around it. So first let me go ahead and create simple tabs here which are going to control different aspects of my scene. I'll go manage user knobs. I'll first create a new tab. I'll call it, let's say, Earth glow. Okay. So this is the Earth glow tab, and it is going to give me all the options related to the glowing on the Earth. So first thing I want on Earth glow is a toggle switch. So a toggle switch is nothing but a checkbox in Nuke. So I'll just turn that on, and I'm going to call it toggle glow. So here I'm going to just call it on. So earth glow, I want to turn it on or off. That is what this means. So exactly how am I going to make this work? So if you see that in the entire comp, I have this merge node here at the bottom, which is actually responsible for the glow itself. So if I just enable and disable it, you can see that the glow is being turned on and off. So all I want this on to do is toggle this merge node on and off. So to do this, I'll just go ahead and copy this on. I'll copy the links. I'll come to this merge screen, and under the node parameters, I have this thing called disable. So I'll just right click on disable, I'll tell copy, and I'll tell paste. So that link is being added in over here. So I can actually go toggle it on and off. But as you can see, when I turn it on, it's being turned off, and when I turn it off, it's being turned on. So I actually want it reversed. So it's quite easy to reverse this. I'll just go right click on disabled again, tell edit expression. So as you can see, it's going controller toggle glow main. So it's taking in the value from this. Now what I basically want to happen is that whenever it's 0, I want it to be 1, and whenever it is 1, I want it to be 0. So to do this, all I need to do is just put this in a bracket, and in the beginning I'll just tell 1 minus this. So basically what this does is whenever this value is 1, it gets subtracted by 1 and it becomes 0, and whenever this value is actually 0, it gives me 1. So it's basically reversing the boolean value which I'm getting in here. So I'll just hit OK. So now whenever I turn it on, the glow is on. When I turn it off, the glow is off. So this is the easiest way of trying to create some kind of values like this. So I have earth glow which is working. Now next, there are several expressions here which are actually going about and creating the entire glow itself. So if I come to these different parameters, you can see that there are different expressions running these. If I just go right click, edit expression, you can see that there is some value like 4 plus frame. So this is something which is actually controlling the entire glow. It's actually blurring the edge, the alpha on the edge, to create the entire glow. So what I'm going to do is add a controller here which is going to give me a slider which is going to help me control how much of this blurring is supposed to happen. Okay, as you can see, this is the blur which is on the inside, not on the outside. I have another blur which is here at the bottom, which is actually on the outside. So this blur is supposed to control the inside blurring. So I'm going to add in this size value onto my controller over here. So I'll just go right click on earth glow, manage user knobs. I'm going to add in a float point slider. I'm going to call it earth inner glow. So this is the reason I'm naming it fully is because if I'm looking at the script part of it, I want to exactly understand what this is. So next on the label, I'll just call it inner size. So I have inner size added in over there. I'll just put it at the bottom. So it comes after the glow is being turned on. So I've done with that. Now I want this inner size to actually be used when I change this. I actually wanted to change the size here. So I'll just go here. I'll tell copy links. I'll come back here and tell edit expression. I'll go ahead and put the whole of this and multiply them by this new value. Only this new value comes in with the flower brackets, which is how Nuke understands that this is an expression it has to use. I'll just go remove those brackets. So now this entire thing, whatever value is there, is being multiplied by whatever slider value exists here at the bottom. So I'll just click OK on that, and now as you can see, it's 0 because it's being multiplied by 0. If I start changing this, you can see that the glow is changing on the earth itself. Let me go ahead and switch to the earth view. You can see the difference here. As you can see, there's a huge difference on what's happening. So just as easy as that, I was able to control what happens here. But as you can see, I can't really increase it more than this. I can come back here and go to earth glow, edit it, and change the max value to, let's say, 10. And now I can actually take the slider beyond 1 and take it to whatever value I want. Now one thing you would notice is that even though I'm trying to change this blur, it doesn't actually do anything to the like once I set it to a higher value, it just blurs out and I can't really see what's happening. So I can't really see, it becomes too dark. So for this reason, let's say I can take the same inner size, I can add it on a grade node too. So this grade node over here is basically changing the gamma. So this is what it's doing. So I can actually take it and add it on the grade node. So no matter how much I change it, it is always going to make sure I use a little bit of that value inside. So I'll just go into this gamma node, and I'm going to go paste in this value. As you can see, the default value here is 6. So here I have 1.2 already. So this is nothing but half of what I have. So I'll go just divide it by 2. So I get 0.6. And now if I change this value here, you can see automatically the glow value stays almost the same. Obviously this is not the mathematical way of doing it, but you can definitely try using it in different ways. So because I've added in expressions, you can see those green arrows are linking everything on one side. So this is the inner glow till now. Let me go ahead and work on the outer glow. That outer glow is being controlled by this blur. So if I come here, you can see if I disable this, okay, let me toggle it on. So if I disable this and enable, you can see it's working on the outer part of the glow. So I want to edit this one this time. So let me go ahead and remove all of these. I'll put in this blur value and I'm going to take in this controller. So first thing, I'll go add in a user knob. I'll tell I need a float point slider which is going to control the outer glow. So this is earth outer glow, and I'm going to call this outer size. Okay, so I have this outer size. I'll just go put it down. Now I want this to control the amount of blurring over here. I'll just go ahead, copy links. I'll go into this expression, edit expressions. So I just want whatever value is there to be multiplied over here. So I'll just put the whole of whatever I have in a bracket, and okay, wrong brackets. So I'll just go multiply that by this new bracket about my value, which is being added by 1. So basically what this does is that even if my controller value is 0, because there is a 1 value in here, it can never actually reach 0. So no matter what, this value by default is always going to exist. So this is frame multiplied by 0.5 or nothing but divided by 2. So this means that as we progress along with the frames, the size is actually increasing. So this is a time dependent expression which I have added over here. So anyway, I have that added, and if I change this value here, you can see the outer glow is actually increasing this time. So like this, you can actually go ahead and start adding in a lot of values. So right now I have added in the earth glow. I've toggled it on and off. Let me go to the final comp here. Okay, so on the final comp, I can go toggle this glow on and off. I can actually change the inner glow value. So if you see on the darker side of earth, you can actually make this out. So I can toggle this down, or I can increase it. I can also increase or decrease the outer glow itself. So I can take it down, or I can increase it. So as such, you can go ahead and create a lot of these expressions. I'll just edit it just a little bit so it is much more intuitive to understand. I just multiplied the value by 5 so that this value is actually larger than whatever comes in. So as you can see, this slider is controlling the outer glow itself. So like this, you can start creating a lot of these values which are going to help you create effects quite easily and without having to struggle a lot. So right now I have this earth being created. I have this outer glow set up. Now let's say I want to toggle on this cloud map or earth map and such things. So this merge node is what is actually helping me add in the clouds on top. So I'm going to create another slider only for the clouds. So I'll come back here to my controller. On this controller, I'll go create a new tab, and this tab I'm going to call clouds, because it is going to control my clouds. So this clouds, I'm going to put it at the bottom because I don't want any of these controls to be inside the clouds. I want them to be inside Earth Glow. So under clouds, first thing I want is a toggle switch to turn it on and off. So I'll go here, I'll tell I want a checkbox, and I'm going to call this on, or basically cloud, and here I'm going to just give it a label on. Now if I come here to the merge node, I'll just double click on that, so the merge node is open here on the top. What I can tell is that whenever this option is on or off, I want it to give me, or just tell this node to be disabled. So I'll just go paste this in and then go ahead and edit this expression and tell it that I want this subtracted by 1. Okay, so now it's off, and when I turn it on, the clouds actually come in. Now this is not the best way of doing it. Instead, what I can actually have is I can add a float point slider. This is going to control the amount of clouds. Just by calling it intensity and putting it under clouds, it's easier to understand that I mean the intensity of clouds, so I don't need to make the label descriptive, but I definitely need a descriptive name when I'm actually trying to use scripts on it. So now anyway, I've added in this intensity, and I want this to actually toggle this mix amount here on the top. So let me just go control click and drag it onto the mix, and now I can actually go control the amount of the clouds I want on the sphere. So this is easy to control just by having a single slider here. Even if this intensity is on, I can just go turn it on or off. Right? So this is an easy thing. Now I'm just going to go ahead and just make it much more easier for myself. I'll go manage user knobs. This was the first option, so I'll go to the edit intensity cloud value. I'll go edit it and I'll tell start new line off and OK. So as you can see, this option box is on, and then the intensity actually can be changed. So now you can easily control the on and off, and then you have the intensity. Obviously it's not right to have the on switch on the left side of any kind of slider. It's better to have it on the right side, so it's much more easier to understand what's happening. So now as you can see, I have a toggle switch for the clouds, and I have a switch which is actually maintaining how much of the value should come in. So like this, I can actually go about and start creating a lot of these values here, and create several UI elements which are going to help me control this entire composite to a greater degree, especially when trying to show people what exactly the different looks which can be created quite easily, especially when someone wants simple things changed. So I'll be using loads of these techniques once again when I'm creating the stereoscopic workflow or the stereo conversion workflow within Nuke. So please go through this entire video and be sure that you can replicate similar functionality. As you can see, I didn't really use a lot of maths or any kind of scripting whatsoever. I just created whatever I needed right in the user interface directly using a mouse. So I really hope you understood this video. If you have any doubts, please put it in the comments section, or you can also mail me at the email address in the comments. This file which I'm using is from the previous tutorial I had created on the Earth composite. You can get the source files which I'm working on from there. So I really hope you found this video useful. I'll see you next time.